How's it going, everyone? My name's Alex. Welcome back to Roots Reptiles. Now, I'm really excited for today's video. Today's video is on a really special animal, to me at least. So when I was learning and when I was starting with animals, I had a mentor that worked at the zoo. He had all kinds of different animals, all kinds of different species, things that I've never again seen ever since. He unfortunately passed away years ago. I've never seen some of the stuff ever since he passed. But one of the things that happened while I was helping him out over the years, a couple months before he unfortunately passed away, he had this really rare species of boa that I was super attached to. I would come over and see the snake all the time. I would open the rack that the snake was in at the time, and it would slither right on out and come up and sit around my neck. Like, me and the snake had a bond as much as you and a snake can have a bond. We got along really well. And I think that he realized, the gentleman, my mentor, realized as he got older, it was something he wanted me to have. Now, this snake is very, very rare. I'll tell you what it is and I'll show it to you. But this snake is very, very rare. This is a very expensive snake that, especially at the time, I could have never afforded to own myself. And just to make sure that it went to a good home, and for his appreciation for me over the years, he gave me the snake for literally nothing, like pennies compared to what it's actually worth. So the snake was around 3 years old when I got it. Now she's around, I want to say she's around 8 at this point. She should be about full grown, and she's going to go into this big 12-foot enclosure. So we're going to get her decked out in a nice, awesome enclosure. So here's the enclosure behind me, and I'll open it up and show it to you and explain it in just a second. Now, the snake that's going to be going in this enclosure is a Corn Island boa. So they're from one island specifically in the world. That's the only place that they come from. And in the wild, there's a resort that got put in on that island, and now there's basically no more snakes on the island. So in the wild, they pretty much don't exist, and they've never really made their way to the United States for captive breeding programs or for the pet trade or anything like that. There's very, very few of them in the United States. I only know of about 2 people that actually produce these snakes in the United States, and one of the 2 no longer does, and the other one, I'm not even sure if he still does or not. The snake is basically impossible to get at this point. So they're a lot like Hog Island boas, but they get a little bit bigger, and their pattern and color is a little bit different as well. So I'll show you her a little bit later. I'm going to show you this enclosure, and then we'll get it all decked out. Here is a look at the inside of the enclosure. So it goes all the way back there. The bottom is going to be a rubber mat, and then there's also Flex Seal on the sides, so it creates like a reservoir, so if she spills her water or anything happens, it's not going to leak, and the wood's not going to rot. Back there is the heat mat. It's a heat mat on a thermostat, so it's temperature controlled. It'll kick on and off as needed, and it'll keep that end of the enclosure about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than this side of the enclosure over here. So this is plenty of space for her. Like I said, she's about a 5-foot snake, give or take, and this is a 12-foot enclosure. It's about 2.5 foot wide, and then I think same about 2.5, maybe a little bit taller as well. I'm going to cut back to a couple of clips of me the other day, putting in that heat mat, and also just doing random things inside of there. I've had to crawl in there a couple different times. If I have to crawl in there today, I will video it. I might have to crawl in there to put bedding in, so I'm sure it's comical to see me attempt to crawl inside of that hole right there. So the camera's now in there, and there's no way I can reach back there. So I am going to climb in here, so let me get some bedding, put the bag of bedding in here, I'll climb in behind the bag of bedding, we'll put the bedding on that side, I'll climb back out, and then we'll put bedding on this side. Okay, flexibility test passed. Now in the enclosure, put the bedding down on that side, and then we'll go ahead and get back out for the bedding on this side. Getting out is definitely harder than getting back in, unfortunately, but we'll get to that. And I mean, you guys can see I'm 6 foot tall, exactly, like 6 foot tall. So 6 foot tall, I can like go on my hands and knees in here and be totally fine, like easily. And I mean, I'll put my feet against the back. There you go, easily, plenty of space for this snake. And yeah, I did get in and out twice just so you could have that second shot. So everybody better comment, be like, wow, that was so cool, that was so worth it. Now with her being a decent sized snake, we're gonna need decent sized hides. So this one's curved. So I'm gonna like set it up against the side of the enclosure so it'll go like this. And I'm gonna put it back in the back closer to the heat. So she'll have a spot back there. So we're gonna go ahead and put this in there. I'll see if I want to put anything else in there. We'll get some water bowls in there. And then I'll go ahead and show her to you. Okay, perfect. So she'll be able to go back there. She's going to knock it over and she's going to move it and do whatever she wants to with it. That's what she does with the one that's in her enclosure right now. So let me go ahead and see if there's anything else I want to put in here, and we'll grab the water bowl too. As you can see, we went ahead and got a couple more decorations in there. These will help her shed as well. As she goes around, she'll be able to rub on them. And then at her size, a tote is going to be the absolute best water bowl for her. She needs to be able to fully sit in it and be able to soak. So a tote is the easiest thing to do. I actually might end up turning it long ways. Perfect. I'll go ahead and grab her out and give you your first look at the Corn Island boa. And this is my Corn Island boa, Ivory. As you can see, she is definitely a good sized snake. She's a beautiful snake. Now you will notice on her nose, that is a previous injury from when she was young. She used to rub her face really bad on an old enclosure she had, so we had to switch it out, treat it, and she's always had that lump there, but it's never gotten any bigger, and it doesn't affect her in the slightest bit. Now this is one of the nicest snakes that I have out of all of them. She's never struck at anybody. She can be around kids, she can be around other animals. She's totally fine. She's a big old sweetheart. You can see that iridescence on her, and you can see the beautiful speckling. Then if you look at her belly, it's like a beautiful salmon color. Let's get into some better lighting. There we go. You see that beautiful salmon speckled belly? That's part of the indicator that she is a Corn Island boa. It's all that speckling, all that color. She is a character. This is one of my favorite snakes. Okay, now let's go ahead and get her in here. Now we'll see how this goes, but I'm gonna leave my camera in there on a time lapse, and she might just bulldoze it over and hopefully she doesn't break it, but hopefully you guys get to see her checking out in the enclosure. So I'm gonna sit here and watch her for about 15 minutes. I'll leave the camera rolling while I'm watching her, and then I'm gonna leave for about 15 minutes, come back and see what she does while I'm not standing here and staring at her. So hopefully you guys get a good look at what she's doing, and hopefully she enjoys this enclosure. So let's get to it. Okay, and here she is doing just fine. Cruising around, checking everything out, enjoying her new home. Look at all that space. Temperatures are holding well. I'll check humidity over the next couple days. She's got plenty of space, and she's enjoying it. I'll go ahead and give you one last look at the enclosure over here. Go ahead and comment below, what do you want to see next? I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. Go ahead and like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. We're over halfway to the goal. Once we reach the goal, I'll show you every single animal here. I'll do individual videos, snakes, turtles, tortoises, lizards, all of them, and I'll go through and I'll show you everything so you have a better idea of what we have here. So go ahead and subscribe down below. Thank you to everybody, and I'll see you on the next one.